The Book of Revelation. Talk about intense, right? It's jam-packed with dragons, beasts, wild plagues, and epic cosmic battles. It can feel really intimidating, super confusing, maybe even a little scary. But at its heart, it's actually a message of hope. And it was written to real people going through some very real struggles. So, okay, let's dive into this thing and try to demystify one of the most fascinating books ever written. Right out of the gate, the whole book kicks off with this simple command. The author, a guy named John, is on the island of Patmos, and he gets this vision with a direct order. Write it all down. This really sets the stage for everything that's about to unfold. This isn't just John's hot take. It's presented as a message he was commanded to record for everyone. And the book is super clear about its chain of command, so to speak. The source material explains that the message starts with God, it's given to Jesus, who then sends an angel to deliver it to John. And the purpose? To show God's servants the things that must happen soon. So right away, the crucial point is its divine origin. So before John can write about the future, he first has to describe the one who's giving him this message. And this initial vision is honestly one of the most powerful scenes in the entire Bible. Yeah, this is not the gentle Jesus you see in stained glass windows. This is the glorified cosmic Christ. The white hair, that signifies timeless wisdom. The eyes like fire suggest a gaze that sees absolutely everything. That voice like roaring waters, it conveys just immense power. And that sharp, two-edged sword coming from his mouth, that represents the ultimate power of his words to judge and to rule. It's such an awesome and, frankly, terrifying sight that John just falls down as if he were dead. Now, what's really interesting is where this huge cosmic vision goes first. You'd think it would be straight to a prophecy about the end of the world, right? But no, it goes directly to 7 real historical churches in what we now call modern-day Turkey. You can almost think of these as divine report cards. Each church gets some praise for things they're doing right, like resisting false teachers or hanging in there through tough times, but they also get some pretty specific warnings. And here's why this still matters. The struggles are timeless. One church is warned about compromising its values to fit in, another for losing its passion, a third for tolerating toxic ideas. I mean, these aren't just ancient problems. They're the kind of challenges any community or organization can face today. It really grounds this cosmic book in the real day-to-day stuff we can all recognize. Okay, so one of the most famous warnings is to the church in Laodicea for being lukewarm. And we often think that just means they were indifferent, halfway between being on fire for God and being cold against him. But the local context reveals a much, much deeper meaning. You see, Laodicea had a terrible water supply. And this little detail just brilliantly illustrates the point. The nearby city of Colossae had cold, refreshing drinking water. Hierapolis had hot, healing mineral springs. Both were super useful, but the water that was piped into Laodicea, by the time it got there, it was tepid, disgusting, and good for nothing. So the insult wasn't about their passion, it was about their uselessness. They weren't refreshing anyone, and they weren't healing anyone. They were just there. All right, let's shift gears now and move to the throne room of heaven, because this is where the action really starts to ramp up. John sees God on his throne, and he's holding a scroll that dictates the entire future of history. Now, this scroll is locked up tight with 7 seals, and a mighty angel cries out, "Who is worthy to open the scroll?" But nobody, not in heaven, on earth, or under the earth, is found worthy. The whole plan for history is stuck. John actually starts to weep because it looks like everything's at a total standstill. And then the hero appears. But it's not some mighty warrior. It's a lamb, and it looks as if it had been slain. This is, of course, a symbol for Jesus. The one who was sacrificed is the only one with the authority to unseal God's plan for history. He takes the scroll, and all of heaven just erupts in praise. As the Lamb opens the seals, this sequence of judgments is unleashed on the earth. And it happens in 3 cycles that kind of repeat and intensify. So the breaking of the 7 seals leads to the sounding of 7 trumpets, which then leads to the pouring out of 7 bowls of wrath. Each series is more widespread and more devastating than the last. One of our sources puts it perfectly. It's like a divinely ordained Hunger Games, where the trials get progressively harder and harder. They're designed to call humanity to repent, but, well, many refuse to listen. This modern analogy really helps capture that feeling of escalating intensity, doesn't it? So, behind all of these judgments, there's a massive spiritual war playing out across the pages of the book. And to understand it, we really need to meet the key players in this whole cosmic drama. Okay, so we've already met our protagonist, the Lamb, representing Jesus. His main adversary is the dragon, who's explicitly identified as the devil, or Satan. But the dragon doesn't work alone. He empowers an earthly agent known as the Beast. Now, the Beast is a fascinating figure because it embodies corrupt human power that sets itself against God. Think of it as the ultimate anti-God government or ruler, a powerful kingdom that demands total worship and persecutes anyone who refuses. Throughout history, people have identified the beast with all sorts of empires and dictators, which just speaks to its power as a symbol for oppressive state power in any era. So this is the unholy alliance at the very center of the conflict. The dragon is the spiritual power pulling the strings behind the scenes, and the beast is his political and military frontman right here on Earth. And together, they deceive the nations and launch a full-scale war against anyone who follows the Lamb. But this battle isn't portrayed as some kind of eternal stalemate, not at all. The book moves really quickly towards a final, decisive conclusion, and the ultimate hope for a world that's made completely new. First, the entire system of the beast, which is symbolically called Babylon, is judged and completely destroyed. In Revelation, Babylon represents the corrupt, idolatrous, and materialistic world system that opposes God. Its fall is swift, it's total, and heaven rejoices. And then, out of the ashes of the old world, comes the ultimate vision of hope, the New Jerusalem. And this isn't just a city, it's the perfect dwelling place of God with humanity. There's no more pain, no more night. The sun itself becomes obsolete because the glory of God provides all the light you'd ever need. It's a picture of total, beautiful restoration. So the crucial point of the entire book really comes down to this single declaration from God's throne. The end goal isn't destruction just for destruction's sake. The goal is recreation. The promise of Revelation isn't just the end of the old, broken world, but the beginning of a new, perfect one. So in the end, we're left with the great question, the one that has captivated readers for 2 millennia. Should we read this as a literal, step-by-step prophecy of events that are still to come? Or is it a symbolic masterpiece meant to give hope and courage to believers in any age who are facing their own beasts and Babylons? You know, maybe the real answer lies somewhere in between, and that right there is the mystery and the power of Revelation.